sin and support Christ. It's one or the other.
But can you? But then on the other end, can you support someone who is a pathological liar and a megalomaniac
and still be a Christian?
That's right.
I mean, I support you. I'm sure you lie. Don't you lie? Hey, I support you.
Oh wow!
I get what you said, though. I get what you said.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
I just want us to keep everything equal.
To keep everything. But what I'm saying is sometimes,
and
I'm not saying we don't have to compromise. We're not the ones running for office, right? And we do have a choice on who gets there.
But God punished the people when they chose bad leaders. You see what I'm getting at here?
Hold on. So, come on, man.
Think about it. Pass the microphone to Richard over there.
No. Because hold on, and I'll pass it to him right here. But you're right. God did choose. I mean, did punish people, right? Punish the people who did bad leaders. But you know what? You know what was worse though? When we talk about the talents, right? The person who had one talent and didn't do anything with it, just hid it away. So if you do nothing, right, there's an issue with it. At least take whatever you have, whether it's 2, whether it's 5, whatever you.
That sounds like some tap dancing, man.
No. Whether it's good. No, do the best you can. I mean, he's on one side, I'm on one side. But at least what we're saying is, you know what, I'm not going to just hide my talent. I'm not going to hide my little piece of gold. I'm going to make my choice. I'm going to do the best I can do with what I have. It might not be all I need, right?
He still ain't telling me if they're condemned or not. Richard, you ready?
Yeah, I think for me,
Richard, now think about it. Let me set the question up here. Donald Trump is a liar and a megalomaniac.
Right.
And there's Christians who are willingly voting for him. People who are blood-bought Christians. Are they beyond God's grace?
No. It's hard. I think, like I said, for me, I'm gonna just say this: when I make my decision on who I'm voting for, I am supporting the person, not the sin.
You're supporting kamalaharris, and she wants to do this with our country, LGBTQIA plus, and child deletions on demand.
I'm not in support of the sin. Again, a presidency is a 4-year term.
But imagine the damage a liar and a megalomaniac, or someone who is poor, who is pro alternative lifestyle and downtown. Imagine how much damage they can do in 4 years.
Oh, do you support YouTube? Do you support StreamYard? We pay you. You know, I mean, we pay. You support Chat GBT. We do all these things, right? But it's okay. You buy Coke or whatever, and Coke to soda.
That doesn't make sense.
Now, what I'm saying is that you support all these other.
I'm doing a keto diet now, so no,
Oh yeah, right. You do Coke Zero. Okay, so what I'm saying is though, we make all these other decisions in our life, right? Where it might be people who's in charge of these systems who are against Christ completely, right? Or maybe just a little bit, or maybe some, and we deal with it. And you do.
So you've just given people who support kamalaharris a complete pass.
I'm not giving anybody a pass. What I'm saying is, let's make it educate. Let's not. What I'm saying is, we're already in the game and everything else, right? We're in the game and everything else. But now it's time to pick the leader of our nation. And you say, you know what? Since neither one of them is Christ, right? Because we all fall short. So neither one of them is Christ. Just stay out of it. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, you can choose to do that, but I'm not going to do that. And you don't do that in the rest of your life with everything else that you support. If you support Elon Musk, you say you just got a Tesla for somebody in your family. You support him. You know what I mean? So you support Trump and you support.
I didn't say I was voting for Musk.
No. But what I'm saying is you're supporting him by buying a vehicle. That's money in his pocket. It's a Green New Deal, and he's gonna be on a cabinet with Trump. So you supporting both of them. You know what I mean? By buying his vehicle.
Yeah, give away.
Not like that.
One last point, punch. One last point. I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna pass it to JR and get his opinion. Does a person lose their connection with God by how they vote, JR?
Not at all, man. Not at all. Just like we all sit here and we all sin and we all say a cuss word here in the next 2 or 3 hours. Does that mean that you're not worthy of God's grace?
I don't curse.
Language.
Okay. Well, we not gonna we gonna other than cussing then. Nobody perfect. Just because you vote for this person or that person, that does not take you out of God's grace. No, it doesn't.
Okay, I won't beat up on you too much. DEI hire. Is anybody in the Christian community in danger of losing their connection with God because of who they vote for?
Personal connection, maybe. Not necessarily. God knows we're going to fail. Knows we're going to sin. So
a person can vote for Kamalaharris and be at risk of hellfire.
Sure.
Okay.
But more importantly, I just want to clarify, since I didn't get that question. The one candidate has character flaws, but the other one just has non-Christian policy. I think right there, if you're gonna vote, there's a difference.
Character flaws versus godless policies. Okay. Jayhawk, what say you?
Yeah, I fall in line with the last two speakers, JR and DEI hire. I definitely don't feel that you will fall out of grace.
People quiet, huh?
I'd be saying the same exact thing they both said.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
I had to get my mic. No, I mean your relationship with God is personal. So I don't think supporting a particular candidate when you only have two to choose from is going to ban you to hell. But I also think it's also important to note that Trump himself is not anti-abortion.
You're right.
He's never said that he would approve a federal ban, nationwide across for anti-abortion. He actually,
and he's also not anti-LGBTQIA plus.
Right. So both of these candidates are flawed. It's just which is worse. You're choosing out of that. So,
Lake Show, you want to double tap on this because you've already left a few comments on that. What do you think, bro?
Okay, so both of these candidates are anti-life, fact. Both of these candidates support depopulation, fact. Yeah, it's a wrap.
If you support them, then you go on with them to the pit of fire?
I wouldn't. That's a complex question. So if somebody is going to allow, their political understanding or belief,
I can't hear
if they're going to put that, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right, so
hear anybody else though.
So
just go out and come back in.
Okay.
If somebody allows their political beliefs to be more important in their life than what, following God and doing that, then yes. However, if they're just going to put a vote in on a ballot, but they still going to, stick to the guns and roll with the Messiah and the Most High, then no. Because this is simple as casting a vote, no. Because like one of the young brothers mentioned earlier, like, yeah, he's voting for who he's voting for, but he doesn't agree with all of her policies. So if he votes for her and she's got all this stuff going on, which is anti-Christian, and this boy is a Christian, I mean, either way it goes, you voting for the wrong one. Because, DK said it. I almost said it earlier because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. So you're just going to vote for evil.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a lesser evil. Evil is evil.
Oh.
Me personally, as a Christian, I'm encouraging everyone to go vote. Like I said, my personal relationship.
You encourage everybody to vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
That's your choice. But as far as far as I'm concerned, the relationship, my personal relationship I have with God, is not going to interfere. It's not going to be based off of a political debate going on in a wicked world. It's just not. It's just not how it is. I encourage everyone to get involved in their community. It's just like in the school board. If you're on the school board and y'all coming up with certain and different policies, there's always going to be a debate. There's no right. There's no wrong. You're always going to debate. So it's just I think of it
What if
as
somebody on the school board is a liar and a megalomaniac, or supports LGBTQIA plus, ideology, or child
Get
deletion?
around it.
versus who?
Let's say we had two candidates that believe in either one of them.
That don't believe in either of them.
That believes in either or, just like we have half of the national election. One's a liar, one's a child deleter.
Then it's the same. We're in the same boat that we are with the two presidents. It's no difference.
Okay. Just making sure we're consistent. And that's my thing, guys. I just want to make sure that we stay consistent with this. But even what I say doesn't matter, but I want you guys to see it from the perspective of being consistent.
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, you're back. Got you. Briefly, let's knock it out.
No, I was back. I just wanted to say, man, we were talking about, I agree with JR and, of course, Lake Show. And I think you as well. I think we all have the same view because we came up together, all three of us. And, you may have an idea of, hey, man, I grew up with this guy, or, you could love a person, but you don't have to love that person's lifestyle. So I get that part of it. And at the same time, realize that God knows that none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? And when it comes to politics, I think DK was saying it too. Like, what am I leaning? Is this person leaning more towards the way I feel about life? Our morals. Let's put the morals back into it. So, morally, can I vote for this person and feel all right? Or is it something that I feel deep down? Like, everybody got that angel and that demon on their corner. Like that you walk into a room, nah, I just don't feel right. Let me get out of here. You got that when they call it energy, a vibe.
Called the Holy Spirit, conscience of Christ.
Right, a conscience, yeah. And a lot of people feeling that with Trump, but they don't realize that, the devil wears many faces, man. So, and it don't have to go, like people say, oh, well, she black, she fighting for us, this and that. But we just got to be smart, man. Like at the end of the day, like I feel like Lake Town said, man, we need to start our own party.
Well, I'll say this as we start to sunset the show. I don't publicly support anybody. Now, privately, I may have, opinions. But because neither of these candidates are truly good Christian candidates, I can't support them publicly. I do think that Trump has problems with telling the truth, and he can be a little bit avant-garde as a megalomaniac. Those qualities, they're not something I would publicly tell somebody to support. Contrarily, with Kamala Harris, her being an advocate for LGBTQIA plus lifestyle and child deletion, as a Christian, I just can't square that circle and make that make sense and tell someone to vote for her. So that being the case, and maybe this is some wisdom for you guys, maybe there's something I need to learn. Don't publicly put any of these people on a pedestal. Make if they're not the ideal person that you would look up to as a fellow Christian brother or sister, then just keep your vote to yourself. And don't feel upset or butthurt that somebody else doesn't want to vote the way you think they should vote, because we both have problems. This is a catch-22 that has been given to us by Satan, and God is also watching. He wants to see how we have these conversations, and are we still including him in them? If I support Kamala Harris, even though she supports, a different lifestyle, and she supports, child deletion, that's going to be tough for me to do as a Christian. I better do it privately. I better not be telling other folks that I'm supporting that. If Donald Trump is talking about blowing up the world and turning into a supervillain, how can I in good conscience tell people that this is who you should vote for? That's how I see it. And I could be wrong in that.